Hello Peaches and welcome to today's episode. So if you are new to the channel, then you may not know that right now we are currently watching the first season of Interior Design Masters. So today is no different. Today we are watching episode 4 of season 1 and I'm going to be sharing my thoughts of each final room. So there's 6 contestants left. They are put into 2 teams of 3 people. This week's challenge is to design a dorm room for a college student. So each designer will have their own bedroom to design, and then as a team of 3 they will have one shared kitchen space to design all together. So a total of 8 rooms this week, and I'm going to try to get through them as quick as I can. For this challenge I'm really going to be focused on practicality. They are designing for a student, so they need obviously a place to do studying and work, and also they need a lot of storage because dorm rooms are not known for being the largest. So that's definitely what I'm going to be focused on. So with that said, let's see the first room. Alright, so first is Juice, and I really like her space. I think that the layout was very smart. She decided to sandwich the bed into this corner between the 2 walls and raise it off the ground, so she has 6 drawers underneath the bed, which is quite a bit of storage. It's almost like a dresser and bed in one, so that's really smart. She also chose to put the desk underneath the light source, the window, which I think is a really wise decision if you're working. Who wouldn't want to look out the window, and it kind of helps the flow. Then for more storage, she puts a little almost headboard, because obviously there's no room for a side table, so she creates this headboard to put shelves to put your phone when you're sleeping, or an alarm clock, all of the things you may need on a side table, which was very smart too to maximize that space. She also includes 2 floating shelves above the bed, which is more for decor than to storage, but I think that's nice to add some like little decoration touches instead of just all utility. On the opposite side of the room, she also includes what looks to be like a wardrobe to have any hanging clothes or shoes, almost act as if a closet. So there is a lot of storage for this small space, and it's very concealed, but everything's very intentional, so you don't feel like on top of yourself, which I really like. As far as her color palette goes, I really like what she did with the black and white along with this light blue and the mustard yellow. I think it adds color, but there's a lot of geometric patterns going on. She has this like triangular pattern on the bed, and then the triangle on the wall, and then she has the subway tile on the wall behind the bed as well. She uses hexagons on the tabletop, which I think is very interesting, and I like that, but I wish she would have sealed it some way, because as of right now it's tile with grout, which doesn't make for the best surface to write on, but it definitely adds a lot of interest, so she could have just made it nice and flat. I think that would have been great, because I really like the idea, and you're carrying the same gray from the bedspread and the wall onto the desk. She's using the yellow throughout with the chair and the pillow. I think it's very smart. Everything was really thought about here, and I think it checks all of those boxes. Overall, I'm very pleased with Ju's space. Alright, now we have Frank's bedroom. So his has a lot going on. As far as his layout, it's pretty similar to Ju's, where the bed is sandwiched between the 2 walls and he has the desk under the window, which again I think makes the most sense in this room. Now he uses this very loud print along the wall behind the bed up onto the ceiling, and he stops that wallpaper where it's flush with kind of like where the bed ends to kind of separate the bed area from the like work and dress area, to kind of give it like a bedroom feel and make some separation between the spaces. Now, I do really like that concept. However, this pattern is just so graphic and it's quite dark, and I feel like because it's not a very large room, you want to play with brighter colors. Not to mention he then carries over a dark, rich charcoal along the ceiling where the wallpaper stops, and I know what he's trying to do, and I think that it is great to paint the ceiling like we've talked about in other videos. However, it's just too dark for this room. When you're using dark colors, it has a tendency to make the room feel smaller, and it can be done very well, but I think in this room it wasn't the right choice. There's not enough light, and I like what he did with putting the full-length mirror kind of in the direction of the window, so it's bouncing off some light, but I still think that the color choice wasn't executed the best way. On top of the graphic wallpaper, he also uses cork as a decor element. Now, I think this is quite interesting. I really do like cork in how all of its forms, and he uses it as a backing to the mirror, as a sideboard on the bed, and then he also uses randomly cut out triangles on the wall, which is an interesting art piece to take up the wall, and you can do it for very, very affordable. So that's something that you guys can do at home as well. I think if he could have gone with the cork and just added a brighter and lighter wallpaper, even if it has heavy graphics, if it was just a brighter color, I think it would have just brightened up the space. That's why you usually see people painting small spaces, especially all white, to give the illusion that it is larger. I also think that painting the ceiling gray kind of brings the ceiling down. Obviously, you're not changing the height of the walls, but it just makes you feel like you're almost in a cave, or just like that you are in a tighter space and like height-wise. Definitely something to think about when painting your own space. Now, he did not do a headboard, he just did the full bed, which I think is fine, except for the fact that he chose to do a teeny tiny wood triangular little sideboard. It's just a little too small. I would have made that a little bit bigger. If you're gonna commit to something, I think you should commit all the way. And I would want enough space to put like a glass of water, a clock, and charge my phone, and this it barely looks big enough for a phone, so I think that it would be better just to not do anything at all instead of something so little. Now, he has this cool, almost like a tic-tac-toe board shelf unit made of the same cork above the bed, and I think that's quite interesting. It plays with shapes, and it's using the material in another way, so that's kind of a cool shelving unit instead of just doing a generic wood shelf. As for his storage, it looks like though the teal here is either drawers and like an open up type of system here. I don't think it's the most easily accessible. I think that a drawer system like in Ju's room maximizes that space. I feel like if you put something back there, it's pretty deep, so it would be hard to retrieve those things without having to like get underneath the bed. So I don't know if that's like the best thought out and the most practical space. It is good for like larger pieces if you, instead of wanting to store clothes, wanted to store something larger, but this just doesn't seem all the way there. As for the desk that he chose, we're talking about storage here. We're talking about a student who is studying for multiple classes. I really think it would have been smart to put drawers into the desk. And because it is so small, like, you really want to maximize every space, and this just doesn't seem like the smartest desk. There's not one drawer even for like your pens to go into. There's definitely a better solution. If anything, I would have shortened that desk a little bit and maybe put like a locker or a vertical bookshelf next to the wardrobe that he has in there, just to have some place to put the books and the school supplies. Alright, so now we have Cassie's room. So she did a awesome job. Lots of really smart things in here. So right off the bat, she has the same layout that we've seen in the past two rooms. So now she has a raw wood bed frame, and I actually like this one a little bit better than Frank's, simply because one, the opening is larger so that you can see really everything that's under there, not just a little window, but also because on the opposite side of the room she also has a dresser. alongside the wardrobe. So you have a spot for all your hanging clothes, for your shoes if you want. Then you have your dresser for your folded clothes. And then this space, instead of being used for the folded clothes, can be used for larger items. On top of that, she also has this bookshelf above the bed, which kind of acts as a headboard, but it really goes all the way to the ceiling. So she has some things for filing and some storage up there, as well as decor pieces, which I think this is really great for whoever moves in here. They can use it for their books for school, or they can use it for decorations. There's lots of possibilities, and she's maximizing the entire height of the wall. Now she has this neutral earth tone color palette going on, which I really like. It's a lot of browns. She has the raw wood, and then she also uses a different stain of wood as almost a headboard to really anchor the bed into that little cubby. And she takes the wood and she actually carries it over, extends it a little bit past the end of the bed to make a side table. It's just a little cubby. She includes a light and an outlet right there, which is so smart, so that way the student has a reading light if they're doing late night studying. And it's not very large, it doesn't impede on the walkway, but it is large enough for them to charge their phone and put a little clock there. She then carries the wood over to the mirror, where she uses wood for the frame of that, and she even takes a raw material in terms of cork onto the flooring, which is a really interesting concept. Cork, as I said in Frank's room, is a really great, inexpensive material to use, and I think it brings that natural element down to the floor. So I really think that she did a good job balancing all of these natural elements and using lots of natural textures and materials. Speaking of materials, she also uses terrazzo on the wall behind the bed, and it's very subtle. From first glance you can't see it, but it adds a teeny bit of color, and it also adds interest over to this corner as well. So I really like that choice, and I really love terrazzo. To complement the wood, she uses something kind of in the same family and uses this mustard color for the bedding, which I really like. It really has this monochromatic look over on this side of the room. And then she uses this complementary color of indigo blue on the parallel wall. So she uses it sparingly, and I really like that she paints the wall and the dresser in the same color to make it very monochromatic over here as well. Not to mention, she hangs the dresser off the wall, so it raises the height of it a little bit as well. So it's almost doubling as like an entryway table when you first walk in. It's kind of an interesting thought to free up some of that floor space. You can put your shoes under there, and that way it's not taking up space somewhere else. You don't always want to hang your dresser, but in this space it really works. I also see above the dresser she's putting what looks to be a cork board and carrying the cork from the floor over here, where the student can post their pictures or assignments or whatever else they want to, which I think is a great balance, and it kind of brings some of that same earth tone from the other side of the room over to this wall. She also has the desk, which again, she doesn't have drawers in the desk, which I think is a missed opportunity. However, next to the desk, she includes a little drawer system cubby. And if she did what Ju did and take those two IKEA pillars with all of the drawers and used a tabletop, those legs could have been drawer systems, and it really wouldn't have changed much except adding an additional storage element. So I think that that's something I would have switched out. I would have personally, if you're gonna do that and go that route, I would have used another one on the other side, because it does look like there's enough room between the chair and the desk that could have fit that, because we need as much storage as we can get in this studio. So now we have Team 1's kitchen. Frank, Ju, and Cassie all created this kitchen together, and I love it. The kitchen is so fun. It's giving me a little bit of a retro vibe. The colors are so bright. Now they don't use the same color twice, I don't think, but all of the colors are in the same family, very bright and happy, and you definitely feel that way in the space. And they're not trying to do too much. There is a pattern on the floor, and I think that that makes sense. They keep it black and white. They're not trying to throw all the colors in there. And then they paint the walls and the backsplash all white as well to really allow the colors to shine and to pop. When you start to do too much, it starts to get lost and like overwhelming, but I think that this is the perfect touch. You know, I love the green geometric triangle that they put on the ceiling and the wall to kind of bring the color from the cabinets over here. And then they use this like creamsicle orange on this little table. Now only seats 2, but that's really all the space you have, and there's only 3 people, so I think you're all right. Now they add 2 like almost like retro-y couches in that same creamsicle and a gray, which I think the gray actually works here. It plays off the black in the tiling on the floor and then also on the hardware that they have throughout the space. I think it's just overall really smart. They have the same geometric shape with the bright yellow over in this corner to bring it from the cabinet side over to the side of the room. They have big windows to allow a lot of light, which is playing off the white walls. It's just so well done, well executed. They even have a red microwave to play with all of the colors, and it's just a happy space. This space makes me very joyful to look at. Now, in partner with the bright color cabinets, they also use like a vinyl wood cabinet, and I think that that's smart. It's a natural color. It's not competing. I don't think that you would have wanted to do like a white would have been too white, but this raw wood kind of almost fades away and blends in, and they carry the same material to the chairs of the dining table, so lots of smart decisions balancing on all sides of the room with all of their materials and their colors and their choices. Also, for their art choice, they did almost like a smaller scale of the walls where they did the same type of triangles and the same colors, but just like in a print form in a like white frame. And I think that that's a very interesting like contrast of like you have it big over on one side and then you have it small here in the frame, and I believe they have 2 of these frames throughout. And they use like very simple, just brown, I think it looks like cork as well, little like a 9 grid above the dining table, because if you did more art it would be competing, and the art itself is the walls and is the cabinet. So to do a flat matte color in this natural material is so smart. Their art choice was just very, very well done. Now we have Jerome's room. So first, right off the bat, I do like the colors. I think that to use black in such a small space is a little risky, but he honestly does it well. I like that he keeps the black above like your chair rail level. It's pretty low, so it kind of is more grounding, whereas Frank had on the ceiling. This kind of works because he has such a contrast with the white bright walls, so you're still getting the brightness from that bright color but also this contrast, so I do quite like that. And then behind his bed he has this like tan and this geometric triangular like focal point. Really like this, very cool. He has this one small little strip of black all the way to the ceiling where the bed is, so it kind of all blends together, very monochromatic. And then he has a neon sign against that black to really pop, and all of his decor on that side are also black to fade away, so I really do like the sophistication area. But I'm very disappointed that the bed is on the floor. It does include a light next to the bed, which is great. We need proper lighting, so that was smart, and I like that it's ensconced so it's not taking up any like space to put down things. He also has 3 hexagon shapes to add some interest, playing with the geometric patterns, which I do really like. That's definitely more for decor than functionality, but it is a very cool, interesting thing to include. He has the 3 shelves above the bed, but they're just floating open exposed shelves, and you really can't put nearly as much on those shelves as you could underneath the bed. It just, you need that storage in such a tight space, and it's a real big missed opportunity for me. Now he has the mirror facing the window as well. Great choice, opens it up. Doing well. You can kind of see that there's some things that they all seem to kind of do, because that's like the layout's all kind of the same because there's not too many options. Now he has his desk underneath the window as well, keeping that same layout that we've seen. However, he does choose to put like a little drawer system on one side. The desk is quite large, takes up literally from the end of the bed all the way to the wall. So it's very big, which I think is good to give the student a lot of space to work. However, he only does like one tiny little drawer system where he definitely has enough room on the opposite side to put another one of those. Again, put some drawers in your desk, people. This is a student we're talking about, not someone who's like not going to be using this. I said at the beginning, we need a lot of storage and we need a desk. So I think that that's also a missed opportunity. So he's also using a metal chair that looks just to be the most uncomfortable thing you could possibly sit in. So to study for 12 hours there does not look very comfortable. Now, in terms of storage, he has the wardrobe that he's also painted black when you first walk in, so you have that storage, but that's kind of what looks to be the main storage in this room. Now, he did use a horizontal little like cubby system with some kind of thrown on cushions. They look like they'll just fall right off. At least put some Velcro so they stay in place. And they're open, so there's no concealing anything. And in such a small space, you want to have door fronts because you have a lot of stuff in a very small space and you want to try to hide that and like make it look as sleek as possible. So I definitely would have at least put some door fronts on that. Maybe done it a little higher to have just, we need more storage, and this just seems like it was thrown in there, falling flat. He does include a side table. He's the only room we've seen thus far that has like an actual side table, and I think that that's smart. Adds a little bit more storage back in. I just can't get past the desk storage and the bed storage. That's definitely a big point of impact for me. He has a different layout than we have seen thus far. We have the wardrobe in the corner, and then the bed is no longer horizontal but vertical along that wall. And then he also has a built-in what looks to be like a sideboard. And I like that he makes a gap to then give you more cabinet space on the ceiling, but he allows for that counter space almost, where it's not just like a row of solid cabinets, but you can place whatever you have there. So you have a lot of storage by your bed. He also includes 2 light sources, one over top and one on the side. Then on the opposite side of the room, he has this fold out desk. So he has this big shelving unit which looks to have like 9 shelves, and a desk which is an L shaped, where all of the other ones we've seen are just flat out. You have the little bit against the wall, and then this pull down desk part as well, which then can be folded back up, which I think is very cool. Now, this really allows you to move around the space when you're not working, and then when it's time to study, you can just pull your desk down very simply. And he also included storage, so it's not only the desk, there's one little cubby for the chair, but also there's storage all along that wall so that you have place to put all of your book supplies. It's very cool that it's uniquely made for the space. He didn't just go out and buy it, but he really conceptualized and he created what made the most sense for this unique room. He really did think of everything. The cabinets obviously can't open towards the bed, so instead he had a pull-out method. So not only are you getting room on top, but you're getting this whole drawer that's very long, almost like a spice rack, but in a much bigger form. Very well thought out and thought all the way throughout the process and like the utilization of the space. Now, his color scheme is very cool. It's this gray and yellow, which are kind of complementary colors, and I love what he does where he takes this stripe of yellow from behind the bed all along the ceiling, right in line with the desk. So he doesn't go crazy with this paint, but it's like carrying the line of the desk all the way through, and it's just so smart. Then he has the gray abstract on the wall. He didn't just paint one solid wall, but played with shapes and carried it over to the bedding and also the curtains. And he has the yellow in the bedding. You know, he has a natural wood throughout. Just simple, but like well utilized. Nothing crazy. It wasn't focused on like being the most decorated, but function was the key here. And I think in a small space like this where you have so many requirements, that's what you need to focus on. So he did a really good job. Nikkis' room. So she is playing with a lot of different things going on in this room. Now she's doing a black and white pinstripe along with some blues and yellows, which I think works. It is a little bit of a lot going on, but I think it's kind of cool. Now her layout is pretty similar to the other rooms we've seen. She does have this risen bed in this little cubby here. So under the bed, she has this really complex, interesting storage space where she has the cabinet that Cassie had, but then she also has 4 open exposed boxes in front of that, which I think could be cool. I don't think she had enough time to finish it. I don't know exactly what her execution was supposed to be, but I understand she's trying to add interest, but it kind of seems a little bit more of a hassle to have to pull this out to then get to the cabinet to open the door. So I don't know if I love this. I wish I could have seen it completed, but interesting idea to think out of the box. I see that she was trying to change it up and be unique, so I'll give her props for that. I like her light source. It's very simple. She's missing some art there. I like that she's playing with the paint colors, but it looks like she's falling short on this area of the room. Now over in the other corner, she has both the blue colors stacked as well, like she has along the bed, and then she's also playing with some black triangular stripes and this cork triangle. So very smart in terms of wall interest and creating like its own little corner. I like the neon yellow light hanging above. It's like its own little special spot in the room, so I really do like that. Now she has a very simple desk. So in her desk, she does have 2 drawers, which is better than some of the other options we've seen. I would have loved to see more, but at least she has a little bit of storage. A little bit. Now she has a bench, which I also think has storage in it, and so that allows for seating, which I like. I like that she has the yellow contrasting the blue. She has the circular rugs to add some shape. So she has a lot of patterns going on, a lot of colors, but I think she actually managed to make it kind of make sense. Now she, I believe, has the wardrobe behind her bed or next to the bed, where I don't know if that layout makes the most sense. They don't show them opening it or using it. I guess you still get your wardrobe function in there, so I guess that works. But it doesn't feel like there's quite enough storage. It seems like she was almost there, but missed on a few little points. Team 2's kitchen. So we have Nikki, Kyle, and Jerome for this kitchen, and they went blue. They do all the cabinets in this color, and then they take the blue into the backsplash where they're taking square tiles and cutting them diagonally and doing a mismatched pattern, which I do like. They're carrying that to the opposite wall, doing the same type of triangle, playing with that blue. They have a geometric little like bar countertop in the same color. So I do think that they're using the color in a wise way. Instead of just doing a 2-top dining table, they kind of do it more as a bar, and it really does seat a lot more people. So I think that that's a better choice for this space as opposed to the 2-top in the last kitchen. This seems like it could seat 4, and it's not taking up a ginormous amount of space. However, I do think that they're falling short when it comes to colors. So on the kitchen side, they do all blue and white. Now they do have a gray countertop, and they do have a slight creamsicle orange light fixture, but it's not big enough and grand enough for me, where they're doing so much blue and like playing with the blue and white, they're forgetting completely about the floor and they're leaving it this like yellowish, which if they could have done the creamsicle orange on the floor, I feel like that could have really tied in the space, because on the opposite side they have the orange and the gray two cushions, so they should have brought those colors over to this side to make it more balanced. Now they're bringing the color to the side of the room by just doing a very simple coffee table. It does look a little small for this room in my opinion, and they're doing it in the blue color. I would have done one flooring throughout. I don't think that they need two separate floors, and I really would have brought the blue to this side and the orange and the gray to the other side to make them make sense and blend together instead of feeling two separate spaces that are working as one. It just doesn't add up to me. Alright guys, so that was episode 4 of Interior Design Masters. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it with me. Let me know in the comments if you guys are happy that Jerome went home, if you guys think someone else should have gone home, or what your thoughts were. Honestly, I think every room was really good this week, and I did really like Jerome's room, but he definitely was falling short in terms of storage. I want to hear all your thoughts and what you guys liked, what rooms you didn't like, what you would have done differently had you had this challenge yourself. If you guys liked this week's video and you can't wait for next week, don't forget to hit subscribe down below, and if you enjoyed hearing my thoughts, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget about that bell icon so that you don't miss any of the next episodes. As always, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye!